Speech off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a few weeks. I got sick and I'm honestly still not fully recovered, I'd say. So if I sound a little hoarse, I can't get rid of like the stupid like dry cough at the end. You know, the cough is always the last thing to go. I wouldn't consider myself sick anymore. Anyway, it's just whatever, the remnants of the cold. But we're in a new month, and I still have to do what I added to Goodreads in January and my January wrap-up. So I'm going to start with what I added to Goodreads. There's a lot, so we'll see how fast we get through these. So the first book is A Woman in Moscow by Beatrice Williams. I heard about this one from Amanda from On the Middle Shelf, and then I recently saw it in a book haul by Krista from Books and Jams. So yeah, seems like it's kind of popular. It's from a time period I don't really know much about. In the autumn of 1948, Iris Digby vanishes from her London home with her American diplomat husband and their 2 children. The world is shocked by the family's sensational disappearance. Were they eliminated by the Soviet intelligence service, or have the Digbys defected to Moscow with a trove of the West's most vital secrets? 4 years later, Ruth McAllister receives a postcard from the twin sister she hasn't seen since their catastrophic parting in Rome in the summer of 1940. As war engulfed the continent, and Iris fell desperately in love with an enigmatic United States Embassy official named Sasha Digby. Within days, Ruth is on her way to Moscow, posing as the wife of counterintelligence agents Sumner Fox in a precarious plot to extract the Digbys from behind the Iron Curtain. So, yeah, I'm going to stop there. It sounds really interesting. Next, we have My Secret Sister by Lauren Westwood. I saw this one on the Bro Institute's website. So, yeah. I never heard of this. 2 DNA tests, 1 big lie. As I speed off in the hospital holding my daughter's hand, I wonder how I could have been so stupid. I should have made the bargain, paid the price. Anything to avoid being here right now. A voice whispers in my head that I can't silence. This is all your fault. You killed her. It's her voice, the one I hear in my nightmares. The woman who stole my memories, the woman who stole my life. And this time, I know she's right. How far would you go to save your child? Okay. Claire is living every mother's worst nightmare. Her daughter Jess has been diagnosed with a rare illness and desperately needs a bone marrow transplant. With no match on the registry, Claire turns to a charismatic geneticist for help and embarks on a genetic journey to seek a familial match for her daughter. On the other side of the country, Marianne suffers her 8th miscarriage. Her perfect life is rotting underneath, but she is determined to do whatever it takes to have a baby. When DNA test results reveal that Claire and Marianne are half-sisters, Claire must face the dark lies of the past and make impossible choices about the future. Is her secret sister the answer to her prayers, or will she cost her everything? I'm interested. I always like secret siblings and like DNA and stuff. It's interesting. Next is another book I also found through Bro Institute. His Hidden Wife by Wendy Clark. The first time you see them out for an evening walk on the cliffs, you'll think they're the perfect family. You'll see a wife who looks so happy, strolling peacefully beside her husband in his dark winter coat, holding her daughter's hand. But you have no idea what's really happening in their house. If you come a little closer, you might hear the way the man speaks to his wife. You might notice that the woman doesn't have any close friends, that sometimes her husband doesn't want her to leave the house. You might wonder if that's a scar her beautiful daughter has hiding on her neck. When you read the local newspaper and hear the news that the wife has fallen from the cliffs, you'll question whether it was really an accident at all. And when the husband starts dating someone new, a woman with the same long dark hair and big blue eyes as his wife, will you say something this time? Because someone has to protect the little girl and stop history from repeating itself. And it may already be too late. Sounds a little terrifying. Next is one I already read, so I'm going to talk about it in my wrap-up. It's The Christmas Sisters by Sarah Morgan. So, skipping that. Oh, a few I've already read. Christmas at Harrington by Melody Carlson. Talk about that later. A Christmas by the Sea by Melody Carlson. Talk about that later. Okay, here's one I can talk about. Poor Dear, D-E-E-R, by Claire Oshetsky. I heard about this one through the Currently Reading podcasts. This one is interesting. Trying to pass the awards. Okay. Margaret Murphy is a weaver of... What? Okay. Margaret Murphy is a weaver of fantastic tales, growing up in a world where the truth is too much for one little girl to endure. Her first memory is of the day her friend Agnes died. No one blames Margaret, not in so many words. Her mother insists to everyone who will listen that her daughter never even left the house that day. Left alone to make sense of tragedy, Margaret wills herself to forget these unbearable memories, replacing them with imagined memories full of faith and magic that always end happily. Enter Poor Dear, a strange and formidable creature who winds her way uninvited into Margaret's made-up tales. Poor Dear will not rest until Margaret faces the truth about her past and atones for her role in Agnes's death. So deer as in like the deer, doe a deer. So it sounds kind of interesting and very sad. Next we have Maid. Hard work, low pay, and a mother's will to survive by Stephanie Land. This was actually a TV show. Well, the TV show was based on the book. But I want to read the book now. And there's a sequel called Class. So I already got them. Next we have Summer's Child by Diane Chamberlain. I heard about this one from Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. 20 years after 11-year-old Daria Kato finds a baby abandoned on a beach in Kill Devil Hills. Jeez. She is still very much a part of the child's life. Daria's parents had adopted the infant, but now they are dead, and she has accepted responsibility for Shelley, who has grown into a beautiful, slightly handicapped young woman. Without consulting Daria, Shelley contacts Rory Taylor, host of TV's True Life Stories, to ask his help in finding her birth mother. Rory has a personal interest in Shelley's story since he'd been one of the many teenagers hanging out at the beach the summer the baby was found. Daria, meanwhile, has been keeping to herself the crush she's had on Rory for years, along with Shelley's true story. I want to know Shelley's true story. Next we have The Last Stars in the Sky by Kate Hewitt. This one already came out, January 24th. Kate Hewitt is an auto-buy author for me, pretty much. So, Mom, why are you so mad at Dad? I'm not, I say, which isn't exactly true. Putting on a brave face for my 2 young daughters, pretending everything is fine in my marriage has been hard. That and losing the house after Daniel lied to me. I never expected to have to uproot my family to go live in my parents' isolated cottage on Lost Lake. It's 20 miles to the nearest town, an insignificant speck in endless pine forests. Nobody's lived here for a decade. Now I pick up a rusty pail from its nest of autumn leaves and turn to my daughters. Suddenly I recall how I used to help my own mother pick wild strawberries up here as a little girl. Maybe this isn't a punishment. Maybe this place will be the making of our family. I'm still thinking it when my daughter rests her silky head on my shoulder that evening in the flickering light. And when, over a steaming cup of coffee at dawn, I watch a single loon cut a course through the mirrored surface of Lost Lake. Later, I'll hold on to these memories, ghostly shreds of another life, because just 8 hours after I sat on that sofa, feeling so hopeful, the world as I knew it was gone for good. What do you do when the worst thing in the world happens to your family? What is the worst thing in the world? Anyway, so yeah, I'm excited about this one. Next, we have the Princess Protection Program by Alex London. I heard about this one through Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails. This one is coming out on February 13th. This is like the perfect book for the princess hater that I am. Every fairy tale ends with its characters living happily ever after, right? A valiant prince quests long and hard to reach the castle where the sleeping princess lies, and with a kiss, he will awaken her. But what if the princess does not think a kiss from a stranger is a very pleasant way to wake up? Yuck! When Rosamund flees her prince, a door of opportunity opens, and she steps through to the Home Educational Academy, the HEA for short. Rosamund has found the Princess Protection Program, where fugitive fairy tale princesses escape unwanted affections, untimely ends, and all the other perils of their stories. I'm in. Like, I have always thought Cinderella was so dumb because she just goes with the prince. He could be a serial killer. Who cares if he's royal? I don't know. I just never liked that. Whatever. Anyway, next we have Uprising by Jennifer A. Nielsen. I also heard about these next ones are from Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails. We'll just stop saying her name every 30 seconds. There's like 3 more. Anyway, this one looks good. It's Uprising by Jennifer A. Nielsen. I actually have a few of her books that I've yet to read, which is so bad, and they all sound so good, and I keep buying them. It's bad. It comes out on March 5th, so maybe I'll actually read her other books before this one comes out. 12-year-old Lydia is outside her grandfather's house when planes fly overhead, bearing the Nazi cross on each wing. Before the bombs hit the ground, Lydia realizes her life is about to change forever. Poland is fallen under German occupation, and her father makes the brave decision to join the Polish army to fight against the Nazis. Lydia wants to follow him into war, but she's far too young, and she's needed by her mother and brother. After her family returns to Warsaw, where life has changed irrevocably, Lydia continues to play the piano, find comfort in Chopin, Bach, and Beethoven. But she also wants to aid the Jewish people held captive in the Warsaw Ghetto. With the help of a friend, Lydia begins to smuggle wheat and food into the ghetto. Still, she feels like she could be doing so much more. She wants to fight. After her brother joins the resistance, Lydia wants only to follow in his footsteps. Soon she begins to work as a courier, smuggling weapons and messages for the resistance throughout the city. When the Warsaw City Uprising begins, 1 year after the more well-known Warsaw Ghetto Uprising by Polish Jews with gunfire and bombs echoing throughout the street, Lydia joins the Polish nationalists fight too, and she and her peers fight with everything they've got. Life will continue to surprise Lydia as she and the resistance fighters do their best to defeat the German soldiers. No matter the consequences, they're willing to defend their freedom and their homes from Nazi invaders, even with their lives. I think I read too much, but it's okay. It'll still be exciting to read. I need to learn to not read as much of the synopsis. I just kind of get into it. Next is Keep Your Friends Close by Leah Conan. This one comes out February 20th. With friends like these, who needs enemies? Isolated and embroiled in a custody battle, Mary needs a friend more than ever. When she meets the charming and enigmatic Willa at a Brooklyn playground, the women's connection feels faded. Finally, she has someone on her side. During the margarita-fueled mom's night out, though, Mary shares her darkest secret about her ex, George, and Willa simply disappears. No calls, no texts, nothing. 2 months later, Mary's divorce is almost final, and she's trying to build a new life for her son in upstate New York. On her first day in town, she runs into Willa. Only Willa's name is Annie now, and she's got an entirely new family in tow. When George turns up dead and Mary becomes the prime suspect, she has no choice but to turn to her only friend in Willa. I need to read this immediately. Next is Once a Queen by Sarah Arthur. This one comes out... Oh, I didn't write down when it comes out. I think the 13th. A lot of these come out on the 13th. I missed this one, and I can't look it up anymore because I'm filming on my phone. An American teenager discovers that her estranged English grandmother was once a queen in another world in this debut novel. Okay. When 14-year-old Eva Joyce unexpectedly finds herself spending the summer at the mysterious manor house of the English grandmother she's never met, troubling questions arise. Why the estrangement? What's with the house's employees and their guarded secrets? Why must Eva never mention trains, her father, or her favorite childhood fairy tales? After strange things start happening in the gardens at night, Eva turns to the elderly housekeeper gardener and the gardener's great-grandson Frankie for answers. Astonishingly, they all seem to believe the fairy tales are true, that portals to other worlds still exist, though hidden and steadily disappearing. They suspect that Eva's grandmother was once a queen in one of those worlds, but Eva's grandmother denies it all. After a horrific family tragedy when she was young, her heart is closed to the beauty and pain of her past. It's up to Eva, with Frankie's help, to discover what really happened, whether family relations can be restored, and if the portals are closed forever. I'm very interested. Anyway. Next book is The Wonderland Trials by Sarah Ella. Heard about this one from Katie from the Currently Reading podcast. Solve the clues. Face your fears. Survive the trials. All Alice Liddell wants is to escape her normal life in Oxford and find the parents who abandoned her 10 years ago. But she gets more than she bargained for when her older sister Charlotte is arrested for having the infamous Wonder Gene, the key to unlocking the curious Wonderland reality. Soon Alice receives a rather cryptic invitation to play for Team Heart in this year's annual and often deadly Wonderland trials. Now she has less than 24 hours to find her way into Wonderland, where nothing is impossible, or what it seems. The stakes are raised when she discovers players go missing during the trials each year. Will she and her team solve the clues and find the missing players, or will betrayal and distrust win, leaving Alice alone in a world of her own? So yeah, this sounds like a Alice in Wonderland retelling. Next we have Night Watching by Tracy Sierra. I heard about this one from Tina from Book Talk, etc. podcast. This one comes out February 6th. Home alone with her young children during a blizzard, a mother tucks her son back into bed in the middle of the night. She hears a noise. Old houses are always making some kind of noise. But this sound is disturbingly familiar. It's the tread of footsteps, unusually heavy and slow, coming up the stairs. Shrouded in the shadows, she sees the figure of a man appear down the hallway. Terrified, she quietly wakes her children and hustles them into the oldest part of the house, a tiny secret room concealed behind a wall. There she hides as the man searches for them, trying to tempt the children out with promises and scare the mother into surrender. In the suffocating darkness, the mother struggles to remain calm, to plan, to search for an opportunity to find a weapon or escape and get help. But then she catches another glimpse of him, that face, that voice, and at once she knows her situation is even more dire than she feared, because she knows exactly who he is and what he wants. I want to know. And I heard this one's kind of scary, so I'm a little terrified too. But it's got me too curious. So next we have Miranda's Big Mistake by Jill Mansell. I heard about this one from Chloe from Always Booked, and I was super excited when I saw that it was available on the Audible Plus catalog for free. So it sounds like this is about two women who are friends. I'm kind of paraphrasing Chloe because I couldn't get a Goodreads description. I don't know why there isn't one. And one of them breaks up with her husband or boyfriend, leaves her when she's pregnant, and Miranda dates him not knowing that he left his pregnant girlfriend. So, but she falls for him, so what happens? That type of thing. I'm interested. Next is The Girl on the News by Elizabeth Carpenter. I also heard about this one from Chloe from Always Booked. My heart pounds as I take in the headline, Missing Girl Believed Kidnapped. Underneath is a photo of my beautiful daughter Mia, her gap-toothed grin unmistakable. But Mia's safe beside me, snuggled up on the sofa. Why would someone pretend my child has been taken? I thought my husband Mark and I had built a perfect new life with our precious daughter Mia. She's everything to us. I thought we were finally safe from my past. But I know Mia's picture on the news means someone has uncovered who I really am. I want to know who you really are. Next is The Land Beneath Us by Sarah Sundin. I heard about this one. It's like a collaboration video. I think Chantel, she made like a video with Christian fiction booktuber's favorite book of the year. And this one came from Wandering with Stacy, which I never really heard of or followed. Anyway, it's a Sarah Sundin book. I love Sarah Sundin. In 1943, Private Clay Paxton trains hard with the U.S. Army Rangers at Camp Forest, Tennessee, determined to do his best in the upcoming Allied invasion of France. With his future stolen by his brother's betrayal, Clay has only one thing to live for, fulfilling the recurring dream of his death. Leah Jones works as a librarian at Camp Forest, longing to rise above her orphanage upbringing and belong to the community, even as she uses her spare time to search for her real family, the baby sisters she was separated from so long ago. After Clay saves Leah's life from a brutal attack, he saves her virtue with the marriage of convenience. When he ships out to train in England for D-Day, their letters bind them together over the distance. But can a love strong enough to overcome death grow between them before Clay's recurring dream comes true? So, this one's apparently part of a series. Does it matter? Because I was looking at the other books, I think this is book 3 in a series, yeah. And the other books don't look like they're related at all. They're totally different characters. So, if anyone's read this, let me know. Anyway, next is, these next ones are from Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. This first one is part of a series. Lou actually talked about the second one in the series, but I found that it was a series, so I added the first one. So the first one is called What I Would Tell You by Liz Tolsma. Determined to resist the invading Nazis, a Greek Jewish woman's greatest dream has become her worst nightmare. And now she faces an impossible choice whose consequences echo across the generations. So this is the Echoes of the Past series. I couldn't remember the title. 1941. The pounding of Nazi boots on the streets of Salonika, Greece, reverberates in Matilda Nissim's ears, shaking her large community of Sephardic Jews to its core and altering her life forever. If only her people would rise above and resist their captors. At great risk to herself and those around her, she uses a small newspaper she publishes to call them to action, all to no avail. Her husband encourages her to trust God to watch over them, but God has once again deserted his people. Amid the chaos, Matilda discovers she's expecting a longed-for child. Still, nothing stops the occupation's noose from tightening around their necks, and she may have to resort to desperate measures to ensure her daughter's survival. 2019. College student Tessa Payton and her cousin take a popular DNA heritage test only to discover they don't share any common ancestors. In fact, the test reveals Tessa is a Greek Sephardic Jew. This revelation threatens her tenuous faith. Always the overlooked child in her family, she empties her savings account and jets off on a journey to Greece to discover where she belongs and which god demands her allegiance. The enchanting curator at the Jewish Museum guides her as she navigates life in Thessaloniki? Helps with her genealogical research and loans her a fascinating journal written by a Jewish woman during World War II. Tessa's search, however, may open old wounds and uncover long-hidden secrets that could fracture her family forever and leave her with more questions than when she started. Sorry, some of the words are complicated. So then this is the one that Lou mentioned. What I Promise You by Liz Tolsma. This one came out on the 30th. So it's out. I'll probably read these two in order, even though they don't seem to have anything to do with each other. A family forever changed by the tragedies of World War II. Hannah Elfenbein, a young pregnant Jewish woman, is arrested in 1942 and sent to the Camp de Rivesaltes transit camp in southwest France. Drawn to helping other young women escape, she seeks refuge for herself and others at a maternity hospital. But nothing is simple in occupied France, and she finds herself doing the unimaginable to save one precious life. 80 years later, Caitlin Laurence takes a break from training to be a missionary nurse in Spain to visit nearby France, hoping to find her grandfather's birthplace. But what she uncovers is secrets long buried by World War II atrocities. And last book, Dysfunction Junction by Robin W. Pearson. This one comes out February 6th. When three women receive an unexpected phone call that leaves them reeling, they have no other choice but to reckon with a lifetime of memories they've long tried to bury. Only in facing the past will they find their path forward. Frances May Livingston's firm grip of her family's destructive history makes her hold her husband and 4 children even closer, but she's losing bits of herself while proving to everybody and her mama that she's enough. There's no way she'll repeat her mama's mistakes, even if it kills her. Annabelle Macmillan didn't have trouble kicking the eastern North Carolina dust from her feet. The tough part was replanting herself in familiar soil. Now she's blending her old life with her new husband, stepson, and unborn child, and battling old memories of abandonment and new fears of rejection. Dr. Charlotte Winters has built a career around helping others sort through their emotional baggage. She's also spent a lifetime refusing to unpack her own. So what if Charlotte doesn't recall all that her mama did to her and what her daddy didn't do for her? What? So what if Charlotte doesn't recall all that her mama did to her and what her daddy didn't do for her? Her only mission is to help others help themselves until the women from her past and the man in her future undo her well-sown life. Yep. Definitely sounds like Dysfunction Junction. Dysfunction everything. So, yeah. Those are the books that I added to Goodreads this month. I'll be back soon with my January book wrap-up. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.
Speech on. Stop recording video.